So there you have it, Brisbane Roar, Hyundai A-League champions 2014, the only team to have won the championship 3 times. Amazing effort tonight, as they've done all season, coming from behind to get the win in front of their own fans. What an atmosphere tonight, what a game from Brisbane Roar, what a season from Brisbane Roar. Craig Foster, Ned Zilic are here with me, and Ned, did the best team get the win on the night, in your opinion?
They did. They struggled in the first half, had some issues in the second, going down 1-0, but then they showed tremendous character to get back into the game and lifted intensity as well. Matched the Wanderers then with challenges, and in that final third they just have so much quality that in the end, when the Wanderers ran out of steam, then they were picking their passes and finding gaps all over the place.
And you spoke about Thomas Broich, Foz. He unlocked that defence, didn't he? He was the one that made the difference, but a fantastic performance by Brisbane Roar. They've done it all season.
Yeah, they have. Look, I thought Thomas Broich won it for them. It's a wonderful team effort, of course. Michael Theo made some key saves. Don't forget, from Lebanot Haliti, very late on in the game. It was a wonderful chance. Some good saves down low. Matty Smith was a lion at the back. Jade North, very good. Enrique did fantastic when he came on. I thought the timing of the substitution was also important. They'd gone down 1-0, took Petrados off and brought him. They had a lot more penetration.
Yep.
But ultimately, put that all aside, they are a true champion club. It was a wonderful game.
Let's have a look at the goals, Foz.
It was quite fitting that the first 2 goals came from set pieces, because that's how close these 2 teams were. Incredibly close. But it was also fitting that from 1-0 behind, it was Thomas Broich that brought them back into it. Lovely positioning from Matthew Sporanovic, who made 2 or 3 absolutely key tackles. And I thought he was one of the finest players on the pitch this evening, which all Socceroo fans around the country would have been delighted to see, the way he marshalled at the back. Now you talk about Thomas Broich. Okay, it's a beautiful header. Yes, and there was some sort of suspicion of offside. Don't worry about that. I think he was on the line, but the point is Topper Stanley had gone off and LaRocca had come into the centre of defence. And you look here, I think it's Sporanovic looks at him, and that's the margins that you're talking about. You lose your central defender and captain at a set piece. There's no time to reorganise, and away you go. Now, this is a lovely ball in. It's headed on beyond by Enrique. Hit back in, beautifully cut back, and he finishes well. Yeah, great. But who opened the game out there? You tell me. Who opened the game from right to left? There he is, the third man chasing. That pass comes from Thomas Broich. Yeah. It was on the right-hand side. Nothing was open. He ran it all the way across. He played outside of his foot to Shane Stefanuto into his path. He did not have to break stride. He crossed that. They scored 2-1. Thomas Broich won the game. He's the Johnny Warren medalist of the season. He is the joint Joe Marston medalist tonight, and he is one of the finest players. It was a privilege to watch him play tonight.
Ned, what about the Wanderers? How will they reflect on this season? Like Lucy said, 2 seasons in a row they've lost the grand final, but for a start-up club have done very well.
I mean, sure, it's disappointing for them, but you have to consider the challenges that they had this season now with the ACL coming in, the extra games, and just the style of their play, which I mentioned before. It's a high level of physical capacity that's needed, and you see the Wanderers, they defend as a unit, and a lot of their offensive players put in a lot of defensive work too. So you're going to get games where you might tire in that end phase, and then when you come up against a team like Brisbane, who just has that ability to pick passes and find gaps, they've been doing that all season, then you're going to have trouble. But I think still the expectations as well that they had coming into this season were huge. Yeah. They had to deal with that pressure, and I think Pop has managed the situation extremely well and has done a wonderful job with the team. And
just quickly to you, Foz, as well, on Popovic. Tony Popovic had a great season. He's, for a young coach, he's done remarkably well.
It's only one more step that he has to make. I think in the next 12 months to 2 years, he'll do it. And then Tony Popovic, for me, is one of our great coaching hopes to go abroad. So that's why we actually need in the next few years him to get some success here so he can go. That's the quality and that's the high regard that everyone in the game holds him in. But more broadly with the game tonight, I was just reflecting in the last few minutes, it was an extraordinary atmosphere in here. It was an absolute joy to be here. And you think after 9 years, got 52,000, and the atmosphere is magnificent. Nothing can come close in Australian sport. What's it going to be like in another 3, 4 or 5 years?
Amazing.
It's 52,000, it'll be 80. In another 10 years, it'll be 100. And within 10 to 15 years, there won't be a stadium here big enough to hold the Hyundai A-League Grand Final. That's how great tonight was. Everyone who was here will never forget it. Everyone wants to come back. And I'll tell you what, next year it'll be sold out like that. That's the future for the game, has been for the last few years, rising beautifully. But after tonight, I think it's just an exclamation mark that football is going to the top.